Thank you for coming. We're gonna get right into it this evening. First of all, I want to just go over and thank our wonderful sponsors. So of course, the Fairmont, this wonderful room and the beverages outside and all the setup is done by the Fairmont, and we are so, so thankful for them. Encore does our lovely sound and our lovely screen. Isn't it beautiful? With their creative, did our logo, website, all of those things. So we're so thankful for them. And then Nona Pia's is our new sponsor. Oh, that's how low it was. Dead battery. Cool. Can you hear me if I speak like this? Okay. Maybe Courtney, are you in here? Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can get some new batteries in this. Yeah. I saw him put some batteries in it. We try so hard every time. So thank you to Nona Pia's for stepping up to be our admin sponsor. So basically what they cover is our costs for our online platform, so that every penny that we put for our donations can go straight to all the organizations, and we don't have to pay for any banking fees or anything like that. So super important. Then we're just gonna quickly go over our donations that we've done since the very beginning. So just to give everybody a reminder of who we supported in the past and where monies have gone. So way back in our first meeting, Q2 of 2019, went to Zero Ceiling, then Little Watt Nation Youth Center, Families Fighting Cancer in the Sea to Sky, Whistler Arts Council, House Down Women's Center Society, the Kelty Patrick Dennehy Foundation, Whistler Healthcare Foundation, the Squamish Little Watt Cultural Center, the Whistler Community Services Society, Sea to Sky Hospice Society, Whistler Adaptive Sports Program Society. Then we did an extended giving option over when we had the big floods down in the Fraser Valley. So that was through Canadian Red Cross. We did the Whistler Museum and Archives Society, Whistler Children's Chorus. We did another extended giving option through the Canadian Red Cross for the Ukraine humanitarian crisis. We did Whistler Animals Galore, Pemberton District Search and Rescue, Garibaldi Volunteer Fire Department was our last one. Who was there? Who was here for that? Put your hands up. Thank you for coming to 2 out of 2 this. Who feels comfortable speaking without a mic? Lynn? Where did Lynn go? Lynn. Oh, she turned it on in the back. It's you, right? Lynn, do you want to wait for the microphone? Yeah? Yeah? I could just go dance. I'm real good at it. I wear my fancy suit for it and everything. I feel like she's on her way back. So if we just take time with our paper. So I'd like to welcome Lynn. She's from Sea to Sky Community Services Society and is going to talk to us about her You Make Us Matter campaign. Do it? We heard you in the back.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, hello. Okay. Oh. Okay. All right, Lynn, come on up. There you go. Welcome. Don't mind me, I'll just be standing here like this.
Good evening. Can you hear me? No.
You can move it to wherever it suits you.
Either. Can you hear me? Yeah. It often does take a village, doesn't it, to accomplish change in our community. I just think I'm going to actually put my glasses on. I printed big, but I'm not worried. I'm honored today to be with you, a village of women who care about the challenges that women face and understand how they can do something about it. Thank you for all you do for our communities. My name is Lynn Tyler, and I'm here tonight representing Sea to Sky Community Services as their Director of Revenue Development. I go by the pronouns she, her, and I'm grateful to call the beautiful unceded ancestral territories of the Squamish, Little Island, and Stutnam nations my home. Founded in 1978, SFCS has been operating throughout the Sea to Sky corridor for 43 years. We offer 41 programs: affordable housing, childcare, and education, social supports, and mental health counseling. A $16 million operating budget supported 6,692 people in communities throughout the corridor last year. We meet families where they're at and help them by giving them the tools and the support they need to thrive. Here in Whistler, SSCS operates 21 programs, from early intervention programs for children and families, supports for children and adults with special needs, family and individual counseling, legal advocacy, housing outreach and homelessness prevention, and our seniors programs, our federal programs. We invest $750,000 annually in programs and services locally in Whistler, and have 10 full-time equivalent employees that work from here. Today, I'm here to ask you to support our You Make Us Matter campaign. This fundraising campaign will run throughout the summer, focusing on special needs that families in our communities rely on. We're focusing on moms and mothers in May. We're focusing on fathers and seniors in June, and then we'll be focusing on families and youth in August. The Sea to Sky corridor is a wonderful place to raise your young children. The natural beauty, growing services, and the lifestyle draw many new faces into the area. In the last 4 years, the community of Pemberton increased by 32%, way more than the provincial average of just 7%. As the Pemberton community grows, the need for support increases, especially for programs that support young families, like the Healthy Pregnancy Outreach Program, or HPOP, as it's commonly known. Adding a baby into the world is a huge life transition for any parent. Whether the baby is your firstborn or you're becoming a parent again, postpartum is demanding. It can be very isolating. We know that the friendships and the shared community with other young families is key to creating healthy, active, and the vibrant village that so many new parents long for. Our HPOP program that we've run for over 25 years is the only perinatal drop-in program in the Sea to Sky corridor. And we operate out of both Squamish and Pemberton. Our program supports prenatal and postpartum mothers facing financial and social barriers. And we also support women looking to improve their baby's physical and mental health, as well as their own. Our Pemberton program coordinator, Lauren Leacy, who happens also to run our Pemberton Food Bank out in Pemberton, has seen the self-confidence of the new mothers grow and friendships form alongside the development of happy, healthy babies since its inception 15 years ago in Pemberton. She explains that every pregnancy, birthing experience, and parenting situation is unique, and that we're here to support all of it. HPOP runs year-round and is open to all new expecting mothers in all stages of pregnancy up until a baby is 9 months old. Our HPOP program is often an entryway into many other programs for children and families, such as infant development, Mother Goose, Strong Start, as well as assisting mothers who are experiencing a crisis at home, such as gender violence. Mothers are also introduced to many of the other offerings that we have, 40 other programs that we offer and services we offer to community, such as Better at Home, or our Pemberton Food Bank. So you'll see a lot of overlap between our moms coming to HPOP and using other services. But right now, the program, with the program having more than 30 moms attending every week in Pemberton, it's absolutely reached capacity. The ideal size is about 20, and that's what we've been counting on over the years. So at the moment we have 30 moms and are at full capacity, and this is putting new moms at risk of isolation and decreased physical and mental health during a huge life transition. So we simply can't accept any more new moms coming into community or reaching out. Your funding will enable us to run our Pemberton drop-in program twice a week instead of the once a week it's happening right now. It will allow us to create smaller, intimate groups while ensuring that we still welcome new moms into the program throughout the year. HPOP is funded by a government grant and funded since its inception. We're very grateful for that funding, but it's uses a formula that calculates the amount they're willing to contribute based on the service budget for the year before. And what this means is that when you face something like the baby boom or many new families moving into community, it leaves us with a deficit position in that we simply can't, we don't have the funding to cover the additional, for the additional services. Supporting us with funding, will increase the services this year, but will also ensure that when we apply for our funding next year, we can apply at that higher level because we can prove we've provided a service at the needed level. I wanted to just stop and leave you with a story, and I'm hoping I've kind of been reading my notes a little bit, but I will want to read this to you. It's a story of a HPOP mom. A pseudonym for her is Michelle. When Michelle took a medical leave from her job in 2018, she had no idea that it would be the first of a series of rapid, life-altering events. Michelle was single, and after focusing on her recovery from a car accident, she was finally ready to move on with her life. Soon, Michelle found herself in a brand new relationship and pregnant. Still on medical leave from work, scared and depressed, Michelle was terrified. She and the father of her child, who now is her partner, faced the unknown together. In early 2020, her son Riley was born. Shortly after that, COVID-19 put her and her community and all the support systems into lockdown, cutting her as new parent, her and her partner as new parents, and their son off from the world. When Riley was 16 months old, Michelle learned that he had moderate to severe autism, along with a developmental delay. Michelle had been a regular participant in HPOP, and when faced with uncertainty of Riley's autism diagnosis, Michelle knew exactly where to turn for help. She enrolled in Inspire Community Services Infant Development Program, which provides early intervention support for children up to 3 years of age. Here, Michelle met Laurie Lowe, an IDD consultant, who gave her support and direction she needed. She says, "I can't imagine the journey we've had without Laurie." In the 3 years since Riley was born, Michelle has been supported with numerous SECS programs. Riley has participated in IDP, Strong Start, speech and occupational therapy, childcare, and more. Together, Michelle and Riley also attend playgroups. The connections and friendships Michelle has found with other parents and caregivers has offered her a sense of community and a safe place to ask for support. She says, for me, these programs provide an outlet and a reprieve. I have a chance to talk to other moms, or sometimes I stick around afterwards to speak with the staff. I know my job now as a mom is to give Riley every opportunity and every bit of love in my heart, and to give him the very best resources our community has available, and which I know will in turn give him the best possible chance of life. With the help of 100 women who care with tonight, you can make mothers like Michelle, and provide them with the knowledge, the connection, and the safety that they need, and help them strengthen and flourish in their community. You can make us matter, and I please do ask you to do so tonight. Thank you.
I just for everyone who the campaign that you made us matter, you said the three things that you're going to on over the month, but our donations specifically go to this program.
That's correct.
Your May, I think.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the May program is the HPOP program. Yeah.
And is that Pemberton?
The HPOP program will specifically support the need in Pemberton. The amount that you have, you could potentially donate would support the immediate need there. Yes.
Just a moment, Pemberton, if there was a moment that had a need, would go up to the group.
Yes, absolutely. It's just that the services, the offices themselves are run out of Pemberton or Squamish. So mums, we serve the whole corridor. Any mums within the corridor, or also up in the Southern Statinium region can use either the Pemberton or Squamish location.
They just have to travel to that location.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyone else? That means you were super.
Oh, well, thanks for
They can kind of hear us. I'll take a kind of. All right. Next, I would like to ask Bree, oh, there she is, to come up, and she's from the Pemberton Off-Road Cycling Association. I've never called it full. I always say Porca. From Porca.
We think it's kind of funny as Porca.
That's
Porca, Sarca, Porca.
Thank you all for having me. My name is Bree Thorlakson. Can you hear me okay? I'm the executive director part-time with the Pemberton Off-Road Cycling Association. Our mission is to serve Pemberton's mountain biking community through advocacy, trail stewardship, partnerships, programs, and events. Our vision is a connected community through mountain biking. But how do you do that? How do you connect the community through bikes? Well, it takes time, and there's many pieces to the puzzle before the community is going to come together. I'll give you a little statistic. 50% of girls do not participate in sport by adolescence. Of those who do participate in sport, 1 in 3 drop out by late adolescence. So why am I telling you this story? Well, I'll give you my story. I moved to Pemberton as a newlywed in 2007. I had a daughter in 2011, and as many women in this quarter can relate to, I struggled as a new mom. I had to quit my job as I could not find childcare. My daughter did not sleep for about 2 years. I fell into an anxious postpartum depression with no family close by, no support. None of my Whistler friends had kids yet. And the loss of my pre-child identity, I needed something to keep me going. Studies show the positive mental and physical health benefits of participating in sport and being in nature. So mountain biking for me checked both those boxes. I started what is known as Porco's Women's Bike Club in 2011. It is a social ride every Wednesday from April through September, where everyone is welcome. The only rules of the bike club are very simple. It's kind of like Fight Club, but they're called the Bike Club. There's no apologizing. Please take up space, support each other, challenge each other, and then have a good chin wag after. This is where the magic happens. Social barriers break down. Women connect. And a lot of the time, people they never thought they would connect with. This is what keeps women coming back every single Wednesday for the past 11 years. The feeling of belonging, the social connection. So Porco was formed in 2016, and I joined as vice chair, and I brought the Women's Bike Club with me. To continue to foster the community of women mountain bikers in Pemberton, we created the Spud Crusher Women's Enduro Mountain Bike Race in 2018. And I'm happy to share with you that more women race bikes between our two major races than men, because we've made this whole 150 women's only enduro. So there's more women racing than men. I think that's a pretty cool stat. In 2021, wanting to dive deeper into what our guiding principle of inclusive meant, Porco partnered with Indigenous Women Outdoors to create an intro to mountain biking program. This was aimed at adult women from Lilwat Nation and Naquaqua Nation. Sandy Ward, who's from Indigenous Women Outdoors, she's a founding member, and we met at Porco Women's Bike Club. We had a beverage and we were like, what can we do together? And so we applied on a grant and got it through Canada Women in Sport. We had 12 ladies participate, and 2 of them have gone on to become coaches, and most importantly, role models in their community. I can hardly wait to see what these women, inspiring women, do next. This year, Porco's adult membership is 52% female. I challenge any mountain bike organization to quote that stat. Our leadership, the board of directors, and our employees are 70% female. I know this is a direct indicator of Porco's investment in gender equity programming. But let's go back to that original statistic. 50% of girls do not participate in sport in adolescence. And of those, 1 in 3 drop out of sport by late adolescence. Well, now it's 2023, and I have a 12-year-old daughter hitting adolescence. I hope she doesn't want to drop out of mountain biking. She's a pretty good mountain biker, but does she have those social connections to keep her in mountain biking? This year, Porco's youth membership is only 35% female. So what are we going to do to change this? In 2019, we piloted a girls' development program for ages 7 to 12, which saw 24 girls participate with more on the wait list. Then the pandemic hit, so we had to put a hold on that, but we would like to bring it back. In 2022, the Women's Bike Club was hosting a ladies-only trail night, and a teen girl named Rebecca Beaton came out and vocalized that she wished she had this type of supportive community for her age group. So she was talking to the right people. So we piloted the Teen Girls on Wheels program for ages 12 to 18. This year, so far, we've had 15 girls participate in it, and some of the girls from Whistler come up and participate with the girls on the Friday evenings. We know that by creating a positive social environment that intentionally fosters a sense of belonging is integral to the retention of girls and women in sport. So by exposing girls to positive local role models, they will be aware of and encouraged to continue to pursue opportunities in sport. So if Porco is successful in receiving your funding tonight from the 100 women of Whistler, 100 women who care from Whistler, your money will go towards increasing the capacity of Porco's gender equity programs, helping us to keep up with the population growth in Pemberton, which Lynn has pointed to. As you may know, we are the fastest growing community in Canada, growing 32% by the time Porco was formed in 2016. Funds will be spent to train and mentor female coaches and teen coaches in training, provide coaches with childcare subsidies if needed, supply program equipment, and to subsidize registration fees to ensure fun, safe, inclusive, and affordable programming is available in our small rural community. We want to do for the youth girls what Women's Bike Club has done for the adults, create a connected community, and we'll all benefit from that. I have board member Nancy Lee here, who's just turned 60, and she can attest to Women's Bike Club and what it's done for her in our community. We'd like to share that with the young girls in our community. Mountain biking is for anyone that wants to reap the benefits of sport, nature, and community connection. So thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you.
I just want to say hi. I don't think you remember me, but about 10, maybe 11 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. We talking.
Teaching beginners is my favorite.
That's great, and yeah, that was great. Thank you. I just been wondering. You mentioned the one board member. That platform being. This is a great idea. Like, do you part-time people, volunteer people? How
As far as employees go, or yeah.
Sustainability.
Yeah.
Many people who can do that work for you.
Yeah, we have a pretty committed board of directors. There's 7 of us, or 7 of them, I'm not on the board anymore, I was, on there. And we have myself as a part-time executive director. Corca is partially funded through the Village of Pemberton and the SLRD to fund part of my position. We have a youth program manager as well that we hire that is paid for through program fees through the youth program. And we have an events and sponsorship coordinator hired this year as well that's hoping to grow our corporate sponsorship. So as soon as we have been able to establish these programs, we try to match it with corporate sponsors that want to continue to fund these programs. So the Women's Bike Club and Girls on Wheels is free to participants, but a lot of the youth programming is paid for, but we try to keep it more affordable for families. So most of the time we can meet our budget that we've set for the program fees, but sometimes if we need just more coaches to accommodate the types of riders that we have, we might have to add a coach, and then so we subsidize it with some of our operating funds. That's how we do it. So
Sometimes those coaches don't come from Pemberton.
they don't, and so it costs us more. There is, so we constantly fundraise for different things. So we do an annual fundraiser at the Legion. We did a video premiere. We did a bike raffle fundraiser. So we're lucky in the sense that we have a lot of corporate sponsorship that wants to support us because of our social media presence and our platform. We have over 800 members and in a small community of less than 4,000 people. That's pretty good.
I'm just wondering, one of the things.
Sure.
You got like.
Yeah.
Tree root.
Yeah.
If you really want to achieve notoriety or friends or activity, something like Pemberton women work on, or like.
I don't know. I mean, it's a good question to
Yeah.
ask, but it's definitely, I feel like we tried to choose very gender neutral branding here. We didn't go, our previous logo was a wild boar.
What's that?
Our previous logo was a wild boar. And so we were like, let's get rid of that.
For women.
It's not just for women. We do programming for everybody. We just have a very specific gender equity programming to grow women in mountain biking. So we have all genders for non-binary people as well. So it's just, we are very proud of the fact that 52% of our membership are women, which is rare in mountain biking. It tends to be a male dominated sport.
And so is your hope then, you talk about beefing up these programs,
for sponsorship.
Yep.
After that, is that kind of the whole with this idea, to be
Yeah.
it up this year?
Yeah.
Get eyes on the program, and hope that sponsorship will come following that, that's kind of the pattern that's happened.
And also to nurture our coaching. So to be able to invest in, a lot of moms have coaching certification, would like to do it, they're at home with their kids, but they need childcare to be able to come and coach. So we want to be able to like pay for that childcare so the moms can get out of the house, you know, and fulfill their needs to be able to do something meaningful in their life and, you know, participate in sport as well. So it's kind of like it all, yes, yeah.
I love that you're going down.
I know. Inexperienced. That'd be too short, but I'm wearing heels tonight, so.
These potential funds we spend, is even like with the programming, you know, programming.
We do have Girls on Wheels going this season, so yeah, it would go toward any coaches, any female coaches that wanted to continue with their coaching or become new coaches, as long as I could get them into a PMBIA training program. They're quite sold out right now, but we usually add some. We could fund them to become coaches or to upgrade their coaching to a level 2, which is what you should have in Pemberton because it's really hard to ride there. And then we focus on the girls development program for next spring.
Development for the
The younger, yeah, we have a youth development program going already, but it's not girl specific. Because we needed to create more coaches to be able to build more capacity. We sell out of these programs in like less than 10 minutes, which I'm sure all recreation moms in here know. We'd like to increase the capacity, but we need to invest in training coaches in our community to be able to offer more after school programming to be able to fulfill the needs in our community. Yeah,
I just have one more thing.
yes.
I think, you know, for women in sports, there are. And there's a lot of money available for them, and I think you want to be neutral. I understand that. You use the word gender. However, you know, the sport is like overall. Sounds to me like extremely passionate about building these programs for young girls. I think you should identify.
Mhm. Okay, noted. Thank you. We work it. Mhm.
But the programs underneath are very specific for the female program.
There are, yep.
Yeah, and they're
One,
Unfortunately, with Fargo, we are only a nonprofit and we are also not. I know, but a lot of the grants are through via sport or you need to be recognized as like a provincial sport organization and a community sport organization. So I haven't been able to access any of the via sport grants except for one. And which we did get this spring to support some of the Girls on Wheels program.
you should be able to access.
chat about that.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question? Okay,
Thank you.
Our Zoomers are still happy. All right. Carol, you're taller than me, right? A little bit. How's that? Try that. Okay. I'm so short. Carol is here. There she is. She's gonna come up and talk about Whistler 360 Health, and she's brought a friend with her. You might recognize her. She's like a local celebrity. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Karin Kausky. I've been fortunate enough to be a full service family physician in Whistler for the last 30+ years and super proud right now to be on the board of Whistler 360.
And I'm Carol Leacy, one of the co-founders, along with 9 of us that were the founding directors for Whistler 360.
So I'll just give you a little background on how we came to be. 4 years ago, one of the 5 primary care clinics in Whistler at that time closed its doors. And there were a group of us that were really concerned that that was probably just the start of more closures to come. And unfortunately, that proved to be correct. The other interesting thing we noted at that time was that Whistler didn't actually have a shortage of doctors. There was a lineup of physicians waiting to work at the emergency department of the Whistler Healthcare Center. So what we decided the real problem was that no one wanted to, or physicians didn't want to own and operate and run small businesses, primary care clinics. So Whistler 360 grew out of that realization and a really big community engagement that we hosted in 2019. The community engagement really confirmed for us that Whistler valued primary care and, interestingly, also wanted to be involved in the planning and governance and support of it. So we formed a primary care task force, which later morphed into a nonprofit society called Whistler 360. The mission of which became to create a community-led and governed, but professionally managed center of excellence, where healthcare professionals provide patient-centered, relationship-based longitudinal care. And we finally became operational this January when we merged with the last full-service family practice clinic in Whistler, the Whistler Medical Clinic, to become Whistler 360 Health. And after 5 months of operations, we're pretty excited at how far we've come. We've added 2 new exam rooms at our current location in the Whistler Healthcare Center, and we've opened and operationalized a satellite location on Main Street. We've had 2 new physicians join us that are currently taking on new patients, and we have a new nurse practitioner starting next week. And we're also in negotiations to add another nurse practitioner in September, and with another physician that's relocating from the UK to join us hopefully in the fall when his licensing comes through. And after launching our patient registry earlier this year, we have matched over 500 new patients to family physicians over 2 months. And we're just getting started on that. Like, we're hoping another couple thousand patients by the fall. I've got to say, Carol said something a couple of months ago when we were in the midst of all of this change that really resonated with me. One night she said, you know, this all came together for me because we've been at it for about 4 years. This all came together for me when we made that first outbound call and said to a patient, would you like a family doctor? Like, I can't tell you how uplifting that was after years of having no capacity. And all of this has been thanks to the generosity of the community and of our donors. So now Carol's going to tell you about her next great idea.
Thanks. The project we're here to talk to you about tonight is our patient portal and reception kiosk. And so by way of background, we've got a number of goals, obviously, that we want to achieve, but 2 of them specifically are, we really want to improve the efficiency of the operation so that we can grow the number of healthcare providers while keeping our costs in line. That's super important as a charity and as a not-for-profit, but also secondly, to improve the patient experience. And one of the ways we're planning to do that is through improved use of technologies. We're currently in the midst of switching over our electronic medical record system, so that basically the system that runs all of the office, to a new vendor. Our current system is really clunky, let's to say the least, lots of inefficiencies, and it's really quite frustrating. So the new system we're planning to go live in 2023. But the current system, one of the really big drags has been the patient portal. It's very unreliable. I'm guessing a number of you here are probably patients of the clinic, and you may have experienced the fact that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and a whole bunch of frustrations around any sort of booking. Our new system is really, we're quite excited. The new system is going to have a lot more efficient workflows that are going to be helpful for the medical office assistants and the doctors and nurse practitioners that use it. But one of the more exciting parts is the patient portal that comes with it. And the patient portal, it does do online booking, but it also does really interesting things like allow you to do intake forms. So you could have a questionnaire that you can fill out ahead of time and have it import right into the medical record. So to try and just show you how important the patient portal is, I just want to describe a bit of a process that you have at the office or the clinic. So say Karin sees a patient and you get blood work done. And later when that blood work comes back, Karin will look at it and say, oh, you know, it looks pretty good, but there's something a little out of whack. I should really talk to that patient, just give them an update. It's not urgent. We don't have to have them in tomorrow, but in the next couple of weeks, it'd be nice to get back. So the whole process is, she looks at the results, she makes a note that goes into a to-do list for one of the medical office assistants to say, non-urgent recall for patient so-and-so. So the next day, one person who's pretty much dedicated their whole day to looking at non-urgent recalls looks at this list and goes, oh, patient A, I'll make an outbound call. Typically doesn't get a hold of them, says, oh, you know, leaves a message. Please call the clinic. We need to make an appointment, nothing urgent, but the doctor would like to talk to you again. Follows up the next day, looks, no one's called back, has to look through the record, no appointment, better make another outbound call. And that system just happens. It's incredibly labor intensive. New system, Karin looks at the result, says, I should really contact that person. Non-urgent recall, boom, hits the button, goes out to the patient through the patient portal, so it's completely secured, gets a little note that says, hey, you know, could you schedule an appointment? This is non-urgent, but we would like to talk to you about your results. Click on the link, see Karin's availability, book your appointment, done. Like, it's game changer, right, for the staff. So this patient portal is going to allow the medical office assistants to really focus on value-added things and not just outbound calls and making appointments. So it's super important for us because normally when you add a doctor or a nurse practitioner, you have to add another medical office assistant because it's very inefficient. And it's about 70% of our costs are in salaries. So what we're hoping to do is be able to grow these providers, like what Karin's talking about in September, the ones that are adding, while keeping our staffing levels steady and really improving that patient experience. So efficiencies and patient experience. So what we like to do is, like, we could roll this out really slowly, which is kind of how it would normally be. And we are already paying for this portal through our transition. And yes, there is quite a bit of a cost to transition to this system. But we're paying for that. But what we would like to do, and why we're here to talk to you tonight, is we think we should really overinvest in rolling out this portal as quickly as possible so that we can achieve those efficiencies while we add the new providers. And so what we'd like to do is dedicate some medical office assistant time to taking an intense 12 weeks after we go live in September to roll out so that everyone who wants the patient portal, not every patient's going to want it, but everyone who wants it is able to access it. It's working trouble-free, and we can just do everything in as much as possible in an automated format. The second part, and I forgot to mention this, is what also comes with the new system is a kiosk. So a self-check-in kiosk where you can update your information when you check in. So between the budget, the project that we're looking for, that kiosk is just under $5,000 or so. And we think that would really pay for itself over time. And then what we'd like to do is dedicate 12 weeks of a portion of a medical office assistant's time into doing outbound setup of patients and troubleshooting for when the rollout happens. So someone who can really project manage that rollout. And so that's the funding that we're looking at here today. It will be just around about 5,000 for the kiosk and about 6,000 for the medical office assistant time. And hopefully we'll all have a better patient experience when everyone can book online.
Internally, is it going to be better for community with referrals that are outside the community, or is it both?
Good, that's a good point, yeah. someone here from the middle of the health, you know. It actually, it does make the referral system a little bit easier, not the patient portal side, but the communication side between. But unfortunately, really the way the systems work is every medical clinic has its own patient system. There is some work being done to try and create, actually, you wouldn't be able to speak to it. It's like
There's a provincial nonprofit called Pathways that is working on something called a patient tracker, referral tracker, where they're kind of like the FedEx of patient referrals, and they take the referral, they have all the specialists' information, they then make sure everything's in the referral, and they get back to the person that made the referral to say, we got this, and you're gonna get an appointment, which right now there isn't a closed loop. So it's another nonprofit that is BC grown, that is working on a really innovative solution to that.
You're looking to add more.
That we've got, right now, about 2,000 people who've signed up for a family doctor, but we know there's a bigger demand than that. So we're actually trying to get the word out. If you don't have a family doctor, or if you know someone who doesn't, who is looking, make sure you go to our website and sign up on the patient list. Because we do know there's a much bigger demand than what we've had. And we did do a bit of a soft launch on the registry. We didn't want to crash.
Available to anybody in the city side, anybody in Western, or work with, it only takes so many patients. But how do you determine who?
We've been prioritizing Whistler to date, mainly because if you live in Pemberton, actually there's quite a few family doctors in Pemberton. So if you have a Pemberton address, they're typically able to take you on. I think we do have some demand that's coming from Squamish, and we're trying to just play that by ear. So we're probably focusing first on Whistler, but a lot of people from what live in Squamish work in Whistler, so we want to make sure we're covering.
Anyone else? I just want to say, I want to make very in the sense that you were spoken and you were coming to the full. And I read a lot of what you online and really appreciate the fact that you stand. You know, we're going to have you.
Thank you for that. That's very kind. There were a lot of people behind all that messaging, and again, really, that's where this nonprofit, you know, we collaborated with Whistler Community Services and with the municipality and the health authority, and it was really everybody coming together that made things happen and made that work actually kind of joyful.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. So we'll just go through really quick. We've got Sea to Sky Community Services Society for the You Make Us Matter campaign, but focusing on their Pemberton, I forget the name of the program because I have 3 kids and no brain. HPOP. I was like, I know it's some group, something like that. For their HPOP program, we've got the Pemberton Off-Road Cycling Association wanting to focus on their female youth programming. And then the Whistler 360 Health Collaborative Society wanting to focus on their patient portal rollout and their check-in kiosk. Does anyone not have a ballot? Raise your hand. For me. No, over. Front, very front. Anyone else? Oh, sorry, I thought you grabbed them. I would watch yours. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm just gonna launch the poll here, and then we're gonna get into some follow-up presentations in a minute. Okay, to those of you on Zoom, I've just launched the poll, so you should be able to place your vote now. That were for Liz. There one? I think they're probably still out there. Still out on the table?
I can just grab them. I need them to stay outside when I go.
Okay, well, she sent me them here, so I'll just fill out new one. Anybody still have a ballot? If you still have a ballot, if you see Courtney there, I'll put it in the jar. Around there. I would like to call Jackie, favorite Jackie. She's gonna talk to us about a previous donation. So back in 2021, who was here then? Who even remembers? Feel like, I don't know. We gave $12,000 to the Whistler Community Services Society for their Together outreach appeal, and Jackie's gonna tell us what they actually did with that money.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Move this up a little bit. You know, to think about it, it's almost 2 years to the day that I stood or sat in front of almost 100 women on Zoom. Because the world felt so completely different, May 26, 2021. And actually today I watched that recording to not just remember what I asked for, but to really get a sense of that time and that period. And I don't know if I was really terrified because I had to speak in front of 100 people that I genuinely care about, or just that the world felt really scary. And I think it was a little bit of both. I approached this wonderful group of people to ask for up to $12,000 to fund our outreach services programming. And most of you would know what that is, but I'll just share with you. It's 6 compassionate, kind, caring people who dedicate their life every day to offering free, judgment-free support to anyone in the community that needs it. When I look back on that presentation, I talked about the fact that our help at that point was the most, well, maybe with Karen's, sanitized helping hand in Whistler. And that our work had gone from hugs and cups of coffee to spending time behind masks and plexiglass. But that we were still incredibly dedicated to helping people. But the truth was, the demand was going up and our revenue was going down. Our stores at the Reuse It Center and Rebuild It at one point were closed. And we were on the brink of losing almost $1.3 million of unrestricted revenue, which helped support this team. So I think I came May 26, 2021, because I genuinely needed your help. And the good news is we were incredibly successful from this wonderful group of women, from people like May Madden of the Whistler Black Home Foundation, from incredible philanthropic donors and moms and people who care so much about this place. Thank you, Jane. I really appreciate everything you do. And at the time, I mentioned that our outreach services had tripled. So pre-pandemic, we were supporting 2,000 one-to-one interactions a year. After the onset of the pandemic, we did more than 6,000. The primary person that came to visit us, their primary reason was mental health and financial need. And also the primary person who came in to see us was about 38 years old. 2 years later, we now see more than quadruple that. We see over 8,000 outreach interactions a year. The fastest growing demographic of our food bank usage is families who have kids 0 to 13 and seniors who are 70 and up. I don't feel as scared anymore. I just recognize that there's this ongoing need within our community. And if I've learned anything within the pandemic, it's that we have the ability to all get out of it together. But I said 2 years ago, and I say it again, I don't want to go back to our life before the pandemic. I don't want to go back to that normal. I think we've entered a new normal. I look at the Whistler 360 Healthcare Collaborative and that incredible group of women who have come together to attach almost 500 people to care. And we aligned with that group to provide support within the community. So what I'd like to tell you is, thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for trusting us. As I said before, the still primary reason people come into our services is for mental health support and finances. When I came to you 2 years ago, every second person that accessed our services was in crisis. The good news is that stat has now gone down to about 11%, which means 1 in 10 of those people coming in are in crisis, but there's still a tremendous amount of work to do. Our food bank pre-pandemic was serving food over 2,000 times. We're now serving it over 13,000 times. Our school food program was providing 18,000 meals and snacks in 2019. We now serve over 150,000. So the demand is still growing. The need still exists. But the good news is that groups such as yourself coming together, asking the important, tough questions, truly make a difference. As someone asked me when I was here 2 years ago, what difference does $12,000 do to a budget that's $350,000 big? I said back then, and stay true to it, we raise money a t-shirt at a time at our Use It and our Rebuild It. It always makes a difference. Back then I told you if we got $12,000, we'd be able to fund an outreach worker for at least a quarter of our fiscal year, and they would commit to seeing 300 interactions over that period, and it would be free, confidential, and I can tell you that actually we could quadruple that with your support. So we were able to serve over 400 people in the community. The one thing that keeps me up at night is not the need, it's the fact that I meet people every day who tell me they won't walk into our services, that they feel a tremendous amount of stigma, that they have a partner that needs help but just doesn't know how to get it. So the bigger conversation that comes out of a time like tonight is not just who's walking in our door, but rather who's not. So thank you for taking the time to be with me today. She's so good at talking. It's almost like she should do a TED Talk. Right?
I'm so funny.
Shelley, I saw you. Oh, I know. I don't even want to follow Jackie. Hey, make a joke. So just give me 1 second. I'm gonna switch your fancy dancy thing here.
Super, so I can manage my own,
Yes. Oh, it didn't work. Wait for it, people. Boom. Look what I just did.
boom.
Right? And then forward to advance.
Okay,
That one there.
don't go far, just in case.
It'll stop at the end of it.
Perfect.
You can go back and forward, you can dance, whatever you like.
Okay, I might be better at dancing than presenting. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? My name is Shelley Milstein. I'm the current executive director of Whistler Adaptive Sports Program. You may have remembered my predecessor of many years, Chelsea Walker, who came here a few years back to ask for your support for the Whistler Adaptive Sports Program. So your donation went towards our Building Back Better campaign, which was to help us through the middle of COVID and help us build back and do some important training for our staff and volunteers. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that tonight. In case you're new to us, we've been around for over 20 years. We remove barriers to adventure for people with disabilities and neurodiversity. We offer a full range of adaptive sports programs and a dynamic learning center in Whistler. We provide more than 3,000 lessons a year and 18 different programs to locals from BC and also visitors from across Canada and also from around the world.
Our multi-sport programs provide year-round sports therapeutic program and recreational opportunities to families living in Squamish, Whistler, and also in Pemberton. We serve participants with a range of disabilities, so anybody with a disability such as Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome, autism, brain injury, spinal cord injury. So really, anybody who is unable to participate in a mainstream sport and rec program, they can come to us and we'll do our best. We serve over 400 people annually, which is growing, as has been mentioned. I'm one of the people who is contributing to the Pemberton population growth. And we know that in Squamish, there's also a huge growing need for our programs and services there as well. Essentially, what our program goals involve is helping people develop physical literacy skills that'll help them participate in regular exercise throughout their life. So it's not just helping somebody make the podium, although that is certainly part of what we do, but it's really just helping the average person learn how to have those physical skills, how to participate in whatever sports and rec they choose to participate in, and support them wherever they are. So with this donation, you supported our return to sport plan. So basically, this was helping us navigate through the pandemic and to figure out how do we get back to our regular programs. So we did that through phasing in our return to sport plan. This funding helped us train staff in new protocols and procedures. As many of you know, we all had to develop new ways of being in the workplace and new ways of offering these programs and services. So this funding helped us to navigate that way forward. Also, an important part was communicating to our athletes and our families in the Disease Guide. And then we slowly reintroduced in-person programming once it was safe to do so. So some of the training that we've done is safe sport. So as has been talked about several times tonight, the world is changing and so is sport. I'm sure we've all heard BC hockey stories and other stories that are coming out. We just want to really make sure that we're offering a safe sport program. So we really dove into that and explored how can we train our staff and volunteers in a more wholesome way to make sure that we're really ready to meet the demand. So the safe sport training that we offer now helps anybody who's involved in sport. It's really to identify and prevent situations of maltreatment. And so we have implemented the new mandatory safe sport training for all staff and all volunteers. All of our training is provided free to our staff and to our volunteers. And I think that really helps make sure that we can maintain this continuum of excellence. We also are involved in the responsible coaching movement as part of this project. So it invites all coaches and sport organizations to really learn to apply consistent safety principles. We work with a ton of volunteers, and it is a real challenge to make sure that they are all following our procedures and protocols. But everybody who comes on to be a Whistler adaptive staff or volunteer commits to this responsible coaching movement. And through this, there's three pillars: safe, smart, and secure. Part of this is implementing the rule of two. So basically what this means is we try to have a staff and a volunteer, or two staff or two volunteers at any given time. So basically we have a 2-to-1 ratio at all of our programs. We've also implemented further background screening. So with this grant, we use Sterling Back Check, which is a way that we can check volunteers for criminal record checks for the vulnerable sector. And all of our volunteers, of course, are trained and are supervised while on our programs. Bear is one of our volunteers. He's passed his criminal record check, I can be sure. And then some of the further training that we offer is ethics and disability training. So these are some examples of some online training modules that all of our volunteers go through. So making ethical decisions, commit to kids, and some training on gender inclusivity. So that's some of the training that you guys have supported, and we have continued to, we've adopted this as part of our onboarding system now, and we have a really great setup of training modules that are either free or inexpensive that we provide free to all of our folks. So I wanted to say thank you so much for your donation. I know it's kind of paperworky and kind of boring sounding, but it really made a really huge difference for us. It's hard sometimes as a charity or a community group to get the funds that really help us do this administrative, but super important work. So thank you all for your contribution, and I'll leave you with some thoughts.
Thank you. Perfect.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you.
Back to our regular scheduling program. So Jackie threw me off so much that I didn't even introduce her. Sorry about that. I'm new. Oh, wait, that's what I want to do. See, told you. Now you can all like see me struggle through this. It's so awkward. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. This is not my computer. Perfect. How can you tell that I do not use this like ever? How do I start from this? Start from beginning, that's not what I want. Okay, you know what? We're just watch this. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna go like. Are you guys laughing at me on the inside? Okay, watch this techno savvy person. And is Bradley here? The only man stood me up. He was our third presenter. Just can't trust the men. That's why I did 100 women this third. People ask me why. This is 100% why. Right here, right now. Okay, well, he'll be back another time. But remember that time we supported the museum? Yeah. Well, if you see Brad, I would like everybody to make a comment. No. All right. Drum roll, please. Wait. For all the expectations that come to us, and we only choose one, it's definitely the hardest job for sure for me to walk away being like, oh, I invited these people, and then they go away empty-handed. But it's really important, I think, for even our community to hear about these organizations, hear about these programs, and learn about them, and learn what else is going on in the community. And even though they're not chosen to be supported this night, we have had lots of other instances where following our meetings, there's been support afterwards, or conversations that have happened afterwards that have led to funding. So I just want to put a little exclamation on that although 2 organizations walk away, quote, empty, there's so much value in coming here and sharing your story. So thank you. Now, okay. And our family goes to Winter 360. So we have 113 members today, so the donation is for $11,300. Yay! Okay, little bitty. But take a photo when you hold the check. Yeah. We can take a laugh. Just say, hey.
Well, I guess, thank you. I mean, really, we're super excited about this and really excited about moving forward and the support of the community, and please spread the word, get the family doc. Yeah, we always joke that Jackie makes someone cry generally.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, close it out and then we'll take a photo with our ginormous check. All right, so we have, this is big for me because I don't know if all of you know this, but this whole 100 women thing was just something one night, you know how you go to bed and you're not supposed to go on your phone, but I do every single night. I'm like, Instagram, so fun. And somebody that I was following just randomly had their story up about 100 women, and I just clicked on it, and it just a huge light bulb went off, and I was like, this is what Whistler needs. Like, we don't have time. There's so many, silent auctions, which is funny because that's basically what I do with all of my time. But I was like, some people they just want quick, clean. You know what I mean? Just come. Here's 3 organizations, here's my money, let's help the community in this way. So it just became so organically and so randomly. And as of today, we have donated 202,000. Or talking or whatever works for you, as long as the donations are coming in. I know I always make jokes about everyone coming here, but that number, yeah, I'm gonna cry. Jackie. Anyways, I'm just really proud of us. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful night.